Hello, everyone. So, we're back again to work on our factory. We left off with having just finished our oil slash power slash rubber plastic plant. We unlocked, or, well, I guess I haven't selected anything, but we were busy unlocking some things. I think we finished off with getting some inventory slots. This might be nice to do. I might do this just for the slots. I think this is the big next one we want to go for, but this is going to take a while to get. And I think I can reorder the factory without it being too much of a hassle. This would honestly be the best thing to go for, seeing as this is, I think, I don't actually know the size of it, but I see 5 grid spaces compared to, where is it? 4. So it's an extra 1 in all directions. I guess it's not that big of a deal then. I thought it was like a doubling to the sides, but in that case, let's set the vehicle transport as the next milestone. Yeah, sure. Let's just dump what we have. We'll go collect the rest. So we're gonna make some blueprints. I actually had some ideas while offline about how to make them to service our sort of like kind of like this, where it's set up so that it's balanced. So we're gonna get started on that right after just doing this quick little let's see, where are the rotors? Just doing this quick little milestone because I want some extra inventory space. It's nice. And we'll grab an extra 100. We need cables. And I grabbed enough iron plates. Yes, but I might need more for building. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Let's grab 2 of those. And if I can find the iron plates, I'm going to grab more. Oh, look, I found the iron plates. Weird that it was stuck at 1. Oh, I guess it's probably producing multiples. Alright. Now we've got 3 extra inventory slots.
Tractors permit pioneers to move around the world in a manner similar to using legs, except with wheels and the rampant consumption of natural resources. They can also be automated to self-drive and deliver resources between truck stations, which in turn facilitate automation of loading, unloading, and refueling.
Okay. Well, let's go get started on some blueprints. Looking forward to them. So first things first, I want to change up the design here. We're going to have logistic floors, just like we already do. In this case, the logistic floors, I believe, they're actually quite small. We're going to have them larger. But to start with, let's clear this out. Just pick up all the materials. So what we're actually going to aim for is, I think we're gonna start moving into using concrete foundations. That is what I enjoy using. And concrete is just more readily available. I'm pretty sure this is an asphalt foundation. It is. Okay. So my bad. What we're gonna do is we're gonna aim for, this is 1. we're gonna do... So it's 2 meters, 4 meters, 6, 8. So we're gonna go 10 up for the floor. And we're just gonna start off filling it up completely. And we'll build off of this. Okay. So I think I'm trying to think exactly what I want to do. So for the actual machinery, so in the case of a smelter, for example, so we're gonna try and try and center it on the blocks, which I guess in that case means that should be fine. We'd have it in this corner. We can move it up. I think I'll move it up. So we'll have it here. We'll move it over. Heck, we'll even have it just centered right here. So this is centered completely. And then we're going to have a floor hole put in. Let's test out different floor hole distances, so it's too far. That's close, but still too far. So this is the right amount. And we're also going to change it to a Mark 1. Yeah. So that looks cleanest. Although, actually, I think... I'm wondering... Will it look cleanest? Do you have to drag it from... You have to drag it from the floor hole to the object. Yeah. Okay. I believe each of these... Yeah, none of these exceeds 60, so that's the correct amount. And then, same deal on this side. We'll have a floor hole. And then... although this one's complaining it's too close. I guess this one is technically too close. Let's try here. How does the game like this? Okay, really? I'm too close and then it just looks ugly otherwise. I guess whatever, I don't really care. Okay. So these are the floor holes with inputs and outputs for a single machine setup. And then underneath, we will drag it down both ways. And then the idea with this is that we're able to use just these. Yeah, so it all fits under one section, so we can get rid of these for the smelters. And these for the smelters. Now, the only issue is I'm pretty sure... How many smelters can you comfortably fit? Because I'm thinking I want to have... Because you could fit them very tightly. I think the rule of thumb I want to go for with builds is to just have a belt's worth of space between them. Not that I'm going to run belts, but just so that for... there's some space to move between. I think that's going to be my sort of method of operating. So like this would be enough for the belts. And what did this end up being on? pretty sure that's actually it. Yep. So we can end up fitting... For this structure, we can end up fitting 5 smelters comfortably. Now, the conundrum is that I don't want 5 smelters because... well, since I selected it, now I need to clear it because I don't want a recipe on these ones. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be 16, and then I'm pretty sure the next set of belts is 900, which I guess in that case it would be 30. Let me take a quick look and see what the belt ratios are. Nope, it's not 900. I don't know why I was thinking 900. 780 and then 1200. But we're not getting 780 or 1200 for a long time. So I'm not too concerned about those right now. So we're going to aim for the 480. It's 780. Don't tell me it's a weird number. Okay, it's 26. Which is divisible by 2. I think that's it, actually. Because you get 13, and 13's prime, so that's really gross, actually. So to fill up a single belt, you end up using 13 machines. Ew. Yeah, 480 is a lot nicer, I think. So we end up with 16, so it's much better if I make a set of 4. So that's what I'm going to do, really. Oops. Alright, so we're gonna clean this all up. I was just detailing sort of like what I'm doing here, or what the plan is. So we're gonna go with the smelter. We take up 2.5 anyways, so makes sense, I guess. So 1 here. 1 here. Yep. I don't plan to run catwalks along this way. If anything, I would run them alongside. Now, as well as the reason I'm doing it this way in comparison to having my usual like double sets over there, it doesn't really matter in reality. That like they all end up merging onto a single belt, and it saves like a little bit of space, but in terms of blueprints and organizing, having it set up like this might just be a little easier. And I can always like line them up so they feed into a single belt anyways. Like it's not, I don't lose anything from doing a single set. So, so this is what we'll have. If I did 4, I could probably fit them all onto... I don't think I could fit them onto 2, but... give some good space. Now, as well as power, Mark II is perfectly fine. And we're gonna align it right behind the ladder. So that from a visual standpoint, you're still able to reach the ladder and go up. It's not blocking or anything. Then we're going to have our floor holes. I think I'll stick with 4. I don't think I'll ever have a need for a different ratio, really. Okay. And then same on this side. Okay. So now we have our inputs and we have our outputs. Whoops. And the idea is that I'll be able to have these set up just for a factory component. So, yeah. So let's say right here we have a smelter, 4 block. Select that icon, and I have an LB4. Okay. Well, so we save this off as a 4 block, and really quickly checking our blueprints. Yep, we have a 4 block. Although I might change the name to match what I was doing. I don't know what the L means, I'm gonna be honest. Gonna be entirely honest at this point. Oh, load balanced. Okay. So I think I'm gonna... So what I'm trying to do is I'm moving away from the load balance structure being integrated into the blueprint. So the inputs and outputs of the actual blueprint themselves are sort of self-contained. And I'm wondering if I should color code machines with their floors. But, oh well. Regardless, saved off. We're gonna clear it out. And so that's an example of a blueprint we're gonna use. Now, another aspect is going to be the load balancing itself. Now, the way I'm gonna do that instead is I'm going to have the load balancing occur here. So we're going to make little load balance modules. So, I mean, I don't need a blueprint for this, is, you know, 2 or 3. But I will use a load balancer for specifically let's see, so if this is the center, let's move this one back a little, move this one over, move this one over as well. Okay, did not get the spacing right, but oh well. Okay. So I still didn't get the spacing right. Fun. Okay, that should be the correct spacing. Alright, and the idea with this is this would be a... you know, this ends up being a... belt balancer without issue. Well, actually, that's not true. This covers like a 4 belt and a 6 belt balancer. Yeah. So we don't need the conveyor belts going on here because we'll attach it to the outputs ourselves. But the spacing is such that it's able to go forward straight without issues. And then obviously this attachment point will be the max of whatever we can afford, just to make sure it's evenly distributed. I'm realizing that an alternative to this, so this is one structure, but you could also have it some other places. But you could very easily also do this. And you end up with the same deal pretty much. This might be more sensible, actually, because it's a little cleaner, shorter on the belts. Looks like its own sort of module. You know what? Actually, since I want these to attach to places, maybe I could take advantage of... No. See, smart splitters would make sense here. Because... let's try out a smart splitter and let me check stuff. Smart splitters could be... They'd be smart if the auto connection was smart. I don't know how smart auto connecting blueprints is, but if it's able to detect that a smart splitter has its forward facing output set to none, that it won't connect it to anything. I don't know, so I'm not going to assume. So this would be a 4-belt load balancer. I think I'm gonna go... This is nice. But I have to admit that this is definitely much more compact. So I think we're gonna go with this one. So we have that. Then what's cool is with just the 2 and the 4, well, just with the 4-belt blueprint, you can easily upscale it to 8 by having 2 sets of these with a 2 feeding into it. We can easily upscale it to a 6, or not. We could do 8 and 12 very easily. So we have 4, 8, and 12, so multiples of 4 are kind of easy, done, squared away. So I think just with this, I think this is the only belt balancing blueprint that would be the only one that's a bit of a hassle, because like it'll be so tight together that it's annoying to build these all myself. So we'll give this one a go. We're gonna call this a 4 load balance, and we'll put a splitter as the icon. Oh geez, I don't know the difference, but I'm assuming, okay, that's what I figured. So this is a 4 load balancer. The single splitter ends up being a 2 or 3 load balancer. But just to showcase, for example, what the whole idea is by splitting these apart, is that I have no wire. Wow. Oh, because I cleared it, but I didn't pick the materials back up? Yep, that's exactly what happened. Okay. So the idea with this is that, you know, you take a smelter set, you drop it down here, and then you would take a load balance. You take a load balancer, bring it however close you want, but like obviously with keeping the fact that like the belts will wiggle a little in mind, so you know, place that down there, and then you're looking at okay, maybe I want straight for the outside ones. Done. So that's all linked up. And so by splitting these apart, yes, I have to connect the exterior belts. So it's not like 100%, but it does make it a little simpler. Now, the craziest thing to do, which I'm now realizing, this is a lot of empty space underneath. I could actually integrate this into the build here. So I could integrate this into the build. In this case, by doing this, and this could be crazy. Not really crazy, but I think it'll be cool. So, am I able to build with blueprints inside of the blueprint? No. Okay, but I can load the blueprints, so that's fine. Okay. So we have it loaded. Now, this is where the fun can begin, because I should be able to put a splitter here. I don't know how well that will work. I have some grace. I have some space. I could put it here without issue. And then we can move it over one. Same thing here. Do that. Do this. Now, the fun begins where I can very easily have this lined up here, going into here. These two bed. Split this off. Oh, it's definitely not going to appreciate that. So that's not going to work that way. Yeah, it's everything about this is going to scream. Yeah, it won't connect. Not to there. Okay. But that doesn't mean it's over, because what we could do instead is we can have this face this way. This one face this way. For example, you know, just humor me. We could have it set up like this. Oh wow, even default doesn't like that? Interesting. Okay, what happens if I move it one more over? Does default still not like it? No? Okay. Seems like default's fine with it now. Weird. Oh, but now it doesn't like this. Difficult. Oh, so difficult. So close to getting this to work in a way that's nice. What to do? I guess, I mean, I could very easily just have this one facing this way, and then have straight belt go like this. Mark 3 for the 240s. I mean, I guess technically this doesn't need to be a Mark IV going into this set, since it's just going to be 60s, 120s. Yeah, so 60s, 120s here. So this just needs to be 240, which, you know, that's fine. Yep, so that's what I'm thinking, because it'll be very, like, tied in. This might cause an issue. Yeah, it will, because that's not exactly gonna work all too nicely. I also have to move these concrete slabs over. For example, because I could very easily fit, like, here, real quick. If this was placed in the center, I could very easily fit all of them on 3 concrete slabs and have them fit perfectly. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. That means I need to fix this because I can't exceed this bound. So it has to face this way. We'll figure it out, we'll figure it out. And once I've done it once, I can replicate this pattern for the other machineries. It might be easier because the smelters are the ones that are the slimmest. Everything else is quite larger, so I'm not nearly as worried. Let's see. So if I move this, can I have it just intersecting itself? Will this let me place a Mark II belt? Okay, yeah, the conveyor belt won't merge. What to do? One idea I could potentially do is like, no, I don't want to do that. That's not gonna work too well. Maybe, what if I just move this further in? Actually, you know what I could do? That's so true. I could totally do this. Yeah, we could totally just do this. Look at that. 10 out of 10. So smart. Perfect. Yep, there we go. And that looks probably even cleaner. Oh yeah. So this is what we're gonna do. So, I'm gonna place this down right here. And then we have to just make sure it's in between the two. So, just like that. And then a Mark II going into it. Oh yeah, look at that. That's nice. And then you just have a single belt going into this module, and it belt splits perfectly. And then we can just replicate this exact same pattern on the outputs. I'm very happy with this. Okay. Cool. And we just have the inverse where this is a merger, and its only output is that direction, with the inputs facing this way. Just have to make sure it's aligned on here. deal here. And then we have a Mark II belt going. Ooh, why doesn't it like that? Because these are placed lined up with the... Oh, these aren't placed lined up with the dots. Really? Wait, why won't it let me place... Real quick. So the floor hole... Is that properly lined up? The same amount of space? Yeah, that's the right spot. But then if I set it up, it's not gonna... It's not linked. I'd have to attach it. Which... do I want to do that? No, I don't. Nope. That's annoying. I'd much rather just have these attached directly. Even if it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt. Default should work fine, though. No? Oh. Okay, maybe I don't have much of a choice. So the issue is definitely that these are tied together. Yeah, I think it works fine. Oh wow, it's so far off that it doesn't even like that. See, but now it's off center. I don't know if I like that. Conundrums. I don't like this now. My like for this setup has disappeared in a heartbeat. Not really. But, is there any way I can get this to work the way I want it to? First thing is also, let's fix the foundations here. Make sure they match. I think the lineup is like right here, right? Yes, perfect. And I have it set up correctly on this side, yep. Is there really no way, aside from the floor holes being super gross? What happens if I do that? Okay, fine. Let's go with the other idea. So place this one down here. This still complains. Yeah, okay. So let's move this out. Actually, let me check something. So that's lined perfectly with that. And then I'm able to use straight. Nope, no I'm not. So you're able to set that up. Then we have to move the floor holes. To be which means I need to put belts. Which, I guess, it's not that big of a deal in reality. Unless I miss the entry port completely, in which case, I mean, the whole other ball game. Right. Oh, that is the wrong kind of bear lift. So, same deal. We'll place this one down. What the? Okay, I guess I placed that one offset slightly. And now it doesn't want to line up. Okay. There we go. Okay, and then Mark II's going into here. And then this is a Mark III coming out. Yep. And there we go. So this is a module that's completely belt balanced with belt balanced in and out. Which would be like the purest form of it. And then yeah. Cool. It's all self-contained. It's a single block right here. So this is probably the coolest form, I think. This is the cleanest. Nothing's intersecting, nothing weird's happening. So we're going to call this... we're going to just do the 4 load balance and replace the one that exists. What the heck did I call it? Oh, load balanced 4. I think that's more descriptive. 4 smelters, and they're all load balanced. Let's clear that up. All right, so I think that takes care of the smelters. There might be a case where we want 2 smelters. Obviously, if we want 1, that's 1. That's not really... You know what? Actually, I probably should. Yeah, okay. Well, we can iterate off that really easily off of the 4. Because we can just grab our 4 times. And then for the 2, we can simply delete this setup. And then for the outputs, I'm pretty sure we could just get away with having this facing the other way. Now I don't know if this is going to feed into it correctly, so I should replace these. Just to be safe. And that is lined with the exit, so I don't need to put any belts down. Same deal here. Clear that. Okay. And then just delete these. I think we can get away with a tier 1 power pole. Now... Okay, there we go. So a little more wasted space, but it is a set of 2, so that's to be understood. Now to set up the power, same deal. It's just going to be placed right after the ladder. So the head cannon is that you're able to still reach it, but we can get away with a tier 1. And that's our 2 setup. And then we're just gonna... Actually, no, I want that one. I'm pretty sure it's... If it's not smelt or centered, it's sure close to being centered. Logistics. Cool. And there we go, it's centered. Whoop-de-doo. So difficult. Just come up here and give it a... Huh, I guess actually that power pole can just stay, and that's it. There we go, that's the 1 smelter. Technically load balanced. Whatever. There we go. So that squares away all of our smelters. Let me make a section category for... how do they have it split up here? Production. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll call this category production. We'll give it the factory icon. And we're going to add a subcategory and call it smelters. And then we're going to grab these bad boys, save them off to there. Smelters, plural. So I guess I'll do the same. Smelters, plural. And then we're going to come to here and we're actually going to delete these, since they are duplicates or not necessary. Cool. All right. So these are our smelters. Now let's do the same for our assemblers. Just make sure, cancel, clear it. Yep, so now let's do the assemblers. So, assemblers or constructors? Constructors. We just have 1, 2, 3, 4 more to do, and these 2 are going to be faster because, as well as this one, because these are going to just be, I don't think I have enough space for like 4 variants of that just yet. So let's come to the foundations. We'll just start it off like we did last time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So that's 10. Just take up the space. I did do that correctly, right? Yep. Okay. Now let's go up above and let's see how many constructors. I think the same deal for the constructors. I think 4, 2, 4. Yeah. I should have done 3 for the smelters, but oh well. We'll do that after. Yeah, we'll do that after. So for the constructor, this aligns directly on one of these. So I can't give it the extra space I would like to. But it does have the same idea of like being centered. We're just gonna do that instead to at least get a little bit of happiness out of it. As tight as it's gonna be. Now the question is this gonna connect? Yes, it will. Now the same annoying thing where I'm pretty sure it's gonna be just a little too far. Okay. Now the conundrum is that screws exist, quick wire exists, wire exists, and yeah, because if it's 4 seconds and it makes, well, it makes 1 every 4. There's biomass. I might do, yeah, because it's 24 seconds and makes 20 cast screws, which means a little under, I think it's 50. I mean, I could just look at the recipes. So, you know, you've got 20, 20, 30, 30 with an input of 60. 15. And this is the one, oh, I guess you got 40 and 50 per minute, so that's not actually overdoing it. Biomass, though, definitely is, but that's its own beast, so I'm not too worried about that. For sheets, 10, silica, 37. Steel beams, definitely not worried about that. Not worried about that. Quick wire, not worried about that. Okay, so it seems like everything coming out of a constructor can be done on a single belt. I think we can get away with that. So we can still stick to Mark 1s. Oh, looks like it actually links up properly, which is nice. What the? Why'd that one rotate? Alright, cool. So these are all linked up. We can delete these 2 rows since we aren't needing them. Then we're going to do the exact same setup, except, nope, just the exact same setup. So we're gonna have splitters, all right. Then we're going to have the conveyor splitter here. Line up there. The merger as well, right here. So this will be a Mark II coming to here. Oh, and I can get away with straight this for whatever reason. And then a Mark III coming in. And same deal. Oh, actually, You know what? I do think that no, I guess not. I was doing the math off the outputs. Biomass is too, but like that would require a tier 4 for a single constructor, so, and don't even get me started on that. So I think we're just gonna go with a tier 3 the same way. So we're going with a merger, and it's gonna be lined up this. Same deal here. Right. And then a Mark II belt going in. Alrighty. Cool. So that's our... Oh, power. Don't want to forget about power. So for this one, we'll use the Mark II, good old Caterium. And because it's kind of blocking, we'll just have it set to there anyways. So, okay. All the belts are set up, all of the inputs. And there we go. So that's going to be our constructor 4 times. Load balanced. Now, the 3 one is going to require a slightly different setup, so I guess it's fine. It doesn't really matter. So let's start with the 2. So we're going to just delete everything on this side. Since they're already aligned, I don't need to redo the flooring, which is nice. I get that from here? Yes. Perfect. Okay. And then I just need to have the splitter. I need to invert the splitter's direction as well as the merger. And then the power pole. I think that covers everything. Okay. And we have the merger, which needs to be lined up here. Perfect. I'm gonna have to adjust the conveyor lifts. It's starting to bother me. Mark 4s. Thank you. And we just need to fix this power pole, which we can switch out for a Mark 1. Cool. So that's done. So this is the 2 load balanced one. And then same deal, delete these. Delete the power pole. Come up here. Grab ourselves a single power pole, Mark 1. Just put it right there. Cool. So that is our 1 times. I think I'm gonna... do I want to make the 3? Is the 3 gonna be that valuable? I can also just make it when I need it. Yeah, I guess I'll hold off on it. I can come back. I think 4s and 2s and 1s, I think, are plenty for now. Okay, cool. So that accounts for our constructors, which if we look in production, that's under manufacturers. So that's We'll add that. Manufacturers. Manufacturers. And then... Alright, cool. And manufacturers. I'm able to edit this? I don't think I'm supposed to be able to edit this. I think that's a glitch. Yeah, interesting. So, oh, what? Weird. Huh. Someone's got to file a bug report. You're able to edit one of these. I didn't notice that. Okay, so that's our constructors. Now we need... I don't have enough parts for the foundry, so I'll have to go collect some. But we can do the assemblers now, so... So again, start in the corner. Oh, what? I clicked the button. I don't know what I did. Oh. Right. And then this is 10 high. Now let's go take a look at the assemblers and see what we have to do, work with. So for a single assembler, it's going to take up 3 squares. We'll center it, as usual. I'm pretty sure it's center line. Oh, that's kind of gross. Its center line actually ends up being... I have to do a minor adjustment. Really? I don't like that. So like on this side, it's off by a small bit. It's like now it's too far off. If I do 2 minor adjustments, it's like still ever so slightly off. So, I don't know how I feel about that. What's decrease and increase scale? Okay, that's just cheating. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna do that. That feels like cheating. I don't like that they added that, but whatever. One of the mods that I have lets me do like micro adjustments, but I guess they added the ability to increase and decrease scale, which I mean, you know what? That's good for building design stuff. So you know what? I take it back. That's fine. But I feel like having that capability available for factory buildings is just a little bit hacky. But so that's the best I'm gonna get. It's gonna be ever so slightly offset no matter what I want to do. But it shouldn't interfere with other things. But taking a look at how much space it takes up, even if I have it as close to the side as I want, we're looking at a solid 3 at max. Which, I mean, that's fine. I'm fine with it. Although I'll have to move them over because if I start placing these directly next to each other, they'll need a little more space, which is fine. Yeah, let's do a little more. That's too much. I think that's just the right amount of distance. Okay, so I guess for this one we'll be doing a 3 and a 2 set for it by default. Okay. And we're gonna change the floor to be 3. Because I don't think I'm gonna need more than that. Fit everything. Okay. Alright. So let's come up here. Now the fun begins, because we have multiple inputs. Now, bigger question is, am I able to go out this far? Still have it connected nicely? No, I'm not. Which is fine. Is okay. Oh, I just realized, oh, because I'm doing the micro placements, it's gonna be, everything has to be micro placed. Is this at least lined up already? That is, okay. Well, let's see. That's too far away. That being lined up. We have the option of there and there. So let's just pick one and align the building to that spec. I'm inclined to do... I mean, I guess this is allowed, it's not invalid. But I think we're gonna go with... I think that is fine. Same deal over here. Okay. Okay. Now, I need to make sure, taking a look at assembler recipes, we're looking at, I'm pretty sure stitched iron plates and such do have a much higher requirement. So like, these two recipes, we're looking at 60 per minute, 37.18. Oh wait, really? Wow. This is such a, I didn't realize how OP this one was. You get way more per iron plate, and you get more per minute for less per... Wow, that's a significant boost. I didn't realize how OP the stitched iron plate recipe was, but I'm very glad I grabbed it now. Modular frames, for example, I guess those are fine. Silica, no, that's not one of them. Steel beam, no. Encased industrial beam, neither of them are using... This has to be a manufacturer, yeah. Not seeing anything that uses up... Okay, fabric, but I don't think I've seen fabric used in anything production heavy yet. So I think we're gonna go with... You produced in a refinery. I think we're gonna go with Mark 1 belts for each. Honestly. Oh, actually, there we go. That's one that just showed it's not. Okay, so I guess we'll just do Mark 2s leading in, which is fine. I don't really mind. Yep. Okay, so we'll do Mark 2s going into each of these. Now the fun begins to belt balancing these, because there's two sets of outputs, or inputs. Is this able to reach? I don't think so, but, you know, have to try. Yeah, that's what I figured. Oh, but there's the distancing. I didn't even think about that. Okay. Actually, these are really long, so it should be fine. I'm not too worried about it, actually. I should check out the output amount because I'm just putting down Mark IIs on the outputs, but that's not necessarily true for any of these. I mean, you're looking at 5 per minute. You're looking at 4 per minute, 2, 5, 5, 5, 5, 1. Okay, yeah, these can be Mark 1s on the outputs for sure. Oh, that's weird. Oh. I think that's just a visual glitch. That wasn't showing the connection. Okay, so up here everything's connected together. Let's finish it off with power. Same deal, except the power poles... No, the power poles are on the back, or the power lines on the back. So we're gonna put this right past the... Okay, let's put it right past the ladder. Make sure it doesn't intersect the building itself. Cables I don't really care about, so that's fine. Alright. Ouch. That hurt. That wasn't very nice. Okay, so we're gonna do the exact same pattern where we have the splitter coming in, except because it's 3, we just need a single splitter. So what we're going to do is we're going to align this here. We're going to drop this down. And let's see what I can do. So if I drop this down, does it intersect cleanly? Not great, but that will work. I know that that'll feed resources up, so that's fine in my books. The left one we're going to have be here. Really? That's what it wants to do? Alright. I guess we'll face it inwards. Since it wants to be like that. Oh, that's Mark IIs are fine in both of these directions. Mark II, Mark II, Mark II. Alright, cool. So that will feed all of these. And then we will do the exact same thing, a tier up for this side. Now the question is, how's that going to look with that one already? You know what? I could do something silly. Could do that. I might enjoy how this looks in the end. I'm pretty sure if I do default, no, that doesn't do exactly what I was looking for. Okay. I guess actually this one should be fine if it's facing side. Ooh, okay, the belts are gonna intersect, so let's bring this one up more. Whoops. Okay. Alright. I'm pretty sure this one's fine to go there. This one's the one that might benefit from being placed like this. So if we take it like this, and we do... Great. There we go. Perfect. That's what I was looking for. So, I think that's very funny. It just snakes around it. I like that a lot. As silly as it is. So, alright. That handles the output, or the inputs. And then the outputs are going to be a lot easier. And I already have an idea of how we're going to have it center lined. And if you're questioning how that's going to work when these are so close to the output, we are going to take this down to here. Do that. I think that is a perfectly good way. Of doing it. I think that's very cool. And then that's our output. Although I do believe I need to make it ever so slightly come out just to align with the edge of the build. This side doesn't need it, so that's fine. Honestly, I could move this inward and do the exact same thing. That might, yeah, that's probably cleaner technically. Let's do that instead. So we're gonna use a splitter. Same deal. Except it's going to be aligned. Mark 2 this direction, Mark 2 this direction. And then I'm going to use, oh look at that, I built it in the wrong spot. No, that's the correct spot, yep. And then Mark 2 that way, Mark 2 that way, and a Mark 4 actually going in. It lines up with this section. Yes. Interesting. So this is a little too far over, so I could have... Let me see. How did I set this up? I guess that's already up against it, so no matter what, that would have been an issue, but... I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. And then we can do, I think, the same thing. Although now I'll be able to... Oh, actually, I don't know if that's gonna work that well. But we'll see. So, we're gonna do that. I guess that does work out. And then we're going to do the same thing here. I think both of them are going to face outwards. I didn't think that one through. Because this is solid, it's kind of going to force the belt through itself. Yeah. Didn't think about that one, to be entirely honest. You know what? I know what I can do. I know what I can do. We can do this. Let's do this one first. That one out of the way. Do this here. And now we're free to drag this one over. And then we have the same straight thing going on here. So There we go. And now they're aligned. They have like a little bit of a snake thing going on. A little cleaner. Cool. Cool. Oh, gee, I just realized doing this for the manufacturer is going to be annoying, to say the least. But all right, cool. So that addresses this, and I'm realizing that technically this format, this doesn't give me enough space for the manufacturer. Like, I have to crunch everything together if I want it to fit for the manufacturer in the future. Because that's, like, well split. And if I push it down one, that ends up being too far. That's too far in each other. Well, that's actually kind of cursed. Yeah, I think in the case of the manufacturer, I'm gonna have to like squish the splitters and mergers quite tightly. The mergers, no, not the mergers. The mergers are gonna be singles, so that's easy. But okay, so the logistics on the bottom are done. Power's hooked up. All of these are lined up with inputs and outputs. Let's do a once over just to make sure we're looking at Mark IIs the whole way down. Mark 1s are fine on the outputs. We'll make a 2 and a 1 version of the assemblers, so not to worry. Again, making sure that these are all 2 on this side. And then making sure they're all 1 on this side. Checking belts. All 1s. Just need 2 belts. This should be 3. Glad I thought about that. Yeah, it really shouldn't need to be a 3. I think we can get by with a 2. Honestly, I don't even think the 2 is really even warranted. Checking, we've got 2, we've got 2, we've got 2, we've got 2, and then we have 4s coming in on this one, and we need a 4. I'm glad I checked. I did not set up the line up there for this one. Huh, glad it lines up perfectly. We'll leave the staircase there because I don't want to leave a belt just floating. Yet, at least. Alright, so that's everything set up. So that's the assembler, 3 times load balanced. What's that? Oh, biomass burner. Save our good old blueprint. Now we're going to make a 2 variant of this. Since we have the power pole set over here, we're just going to delete this one. Okay, I guess I can't reach it from that angle. And then let's make sure these are centered, because they are not currently. I don't think I'll be able to, unfortunately, because of how close this is. But let's take a crack at it anyways. Let's see what I can do. So technically, the center of these 2 lines up right here. this goes outside of the bounds. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, that I'm perfectly okay with. Unfortunately, this is not. So I'd have to move them both over or bite the bullet on the concrete. And we'll move them over. I'm not too worried about it, honestly. I should just clear it, but whatever. Okay, so since we have two, and they take up more space than a normal one does, we're going for 3. Oh, wait, I do need this here. It's fine. And then for the assemblers, this direction, split it down the middle. And then I believe I had it set up such that I think I had it ever so slightly too far on the front side. That's how I had it. And then I left it aligned properly on this. Perfect. For 2, we can get away with a single power pole. I think that's the right spot. Yeah, that might be too far compared to last time, but I think it's fine. Okay. Now we need to do the logistics for this. Same deal, Mark 1's coming out. Oh, don't tell me it's gonna be just too far. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna make it through. Yeah, because I can put belts. So do I need to move this ever so slightly further forward? Oh, what the heck? Why is this? Oh, because of this thing existing. No? Oh, it's the power pole? Really? Okay, I guess. So this should be close enough. But I already had it going forward. So what happens if I have it pushed back one? I don't remember it being an issue. Oh, I really hope I didn't mess that up with the other one. Here, we'll put 2 of these down. Is this... Okay, but this has a belt. Yeah, cool. So this has a belt, so this is invalid. Now... Is it really doing that because of the floor belts? Or the... Whatever. I guess the height doesn't matter, at least for testing. So... If I move it so it's forward 1, that brings it ever so slightly out of this one's space, but it's fine. And this one's able to fit. This one able to connect. Okay, because of the height thing. Because of the stupid height thing. push it out one so that it's centered, and then have it. That's already forward one. Let's do it back one. And then we have this one right here. This one right here. Is this able to reach close enough? No, it isn't. Because of course not. Why is it so difficult? I got that good on the first try for the other one, so it's a little frustrating. All things considered. Okay. Now let me see something. Without me modifying anything, let me just get it close. Let's just place that down there. Alright, so that works that direction. And then that works that direction. I guess we're gonna do that then. That's fine. Now the question is, did I end up placing this centered or did I? I guess I did. Okay. Make sure this is a Mark 1. Mark 2. Jeez, that was a bit of a hassle. Okay. Could... Nope, not gonna engage with that thought. I don't want to be upset. That's lined up on that side, and that's lined up on this side. So that was the correct... I could have just put the floor holes down based on the bottom. I didn't even think of that. That was such a waste of time. Totally could have done that. Okay. It's fine. What's done is done. So let's set up the logistics now. I think with 2, I'm able to get away with a tier 3 belt. So I'm not too worried about that. Oh, I already can't remember. Okay, so I have the left hole. Actually, that's the right hole. So I had the right hole aligned at a second level. Which means I had this set up just this level. And then we're going to do the same thing where this is facing that way just for, you know, fun. Not really just for fun, but you get the point. And then we're going to have a splitter taking input this way. Just for ease, having it split there. And I'll have it facing this way so that it's easy to pull the output around. And this will link directly to it, so I'm not worried. And we can pull a belt off of it that way. Okay, and then a Mark 3. Same deal here. Mark 3. Oh, wait. Actually, do want to keep the poles in place. And there we go. That's the 2 variant. See, when you look from below, you see them facing that direction, you're like, oh no, but if you go on top, it's the correct way. That keeps getting me. I think we're able to get away with just dropping those two out. Mark 1s down. And I think we can actually just leave this completely alone. Have that set up. And there, after an annoying amount of trial and error, there is the 2 variant. I really should set up the single variant as well, just because of the splitters and stuff. Alright, there we go. And then, I mean, the single one should be a lot easier. I'm able to just, we're gonna pick this side, because the power pole lines up with it better, since its attachment point's right there. Okay, then we're going to adjust the flooring so that it's better aligned. Because this one, it won't fit on a single floor, so might as well just get it. Okay, wow. I had it and then I lost it. Oh well. It's fine. I didn't think that went through. Could just edit this from the floor. Like a normal person. Okay. And then instead we're just going to have this face directly out. Oh, don't tell me I had this set to a Mark IV. Oh boy, I have to go reload that. I didn't realize that was set to a Mark IV. Well, now I know. Okay. Same deal with this side, just clean it out. I don't need to link the conveyor belts going outwards since these are just directional. I'm not too worried. Okay. And the power pole is still set up. Everything up here is same as usual. Perfect. So let's set this to the 1. And let's load up the 2 because I just realized that I had left. These need to be Mark 1s, Mark 1s. These need to be Mark 2s. Yep. That would have been a waste of materials. And then this needs to be Mark 2, Mark 2, Mark 2. And then heading in needs to be Mark 4s heading in. And then heading out, Mark 1 is perfectly fine. Yep. Okay, so that fixes the bottom side. Now to ensure that nothing's wrong on this side. Okay. And then Mark 1 is facing this way. Okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, I guess I mean, would this even connect if I had this the wrong direction? Oh, well, it won't let me have it the wrong direction. You know what? It's not the wrong direction. It wouldn't flow correctly otherwise. It wouldn't link. Yeah, okay. So this is corrected now, so let me just resave it. Confirm. that accounts for our assemblers. So we just have to do... I know there's the... No, that's it. There's the 3, the 2, and the 1 for the assembler. Let me go... Huh? That's not what I named it. What the heck? Smelters. Manufacturers. That's weird. That did that. Now I'm concerned that it's gonna do that again. But either way, let's move this into the proper location. There we go. We have our assemblers set up. So I think the only ones we have left are the manufacturers and the foundry. I'm going to take a quick break. I will be back. I'm back. Sorry for the delay, but just had to go handle something. Alright, so looking at foundry and manufacturer. So same deal. Let's start off with the foundations. We're going to start it off in the corner. And then we're going to, this time we're going to do the foundry, I believe. So what are we looking at? Does a foundry fit perfectly on a single block? No, it does not. In that case, we'll center it as best as possible. It looks like we'll be able to get 3, so let's aim for that. Oh wow, that's really tight. I didn't even realize that's... Okay. I'm not too upset, because we can fit them all together. Like, they have some good spacing between them, so I'm not too bothered by it. But, geez, is that tight. Frames. I'm looking for frames. Here we go. Hello. Yeah, right. Back over to here. So we'll make 3, 2, and 1 variants. Starting with this. Is this too far back? Yes, it is. Guess I've been playing for 2 hours, although I just took a break, technically. Okay, so that fits, that matches. Okay, so potentially instead of 2, I might be able to get away with... That line up? That lines up. Okay. I might be able to get away with having... Or instead of... I guess I'm already on 2. To verify that. I guess it's already on 2, so that's not a big deal. Okay. So let's clear that out. Oops, I was using a Mark 1, or Mark 4. Almost certain this only outputs and inputs on the scale of... steel ingots, and I'm pretty sure the steel ingots and any future recipes I get are going to be pretty low on the output rate for the steel ingots. I already passed them somehow. Yeah, 45, so I'm not too worried about each of these inputs can be Mark 1s. Let's drop down real quick. Now we're going to do the same thing where we have a splitter right below one of the inputs, and then it's going to have a switch around. Just test that real quick. There we go. So that's linked up correctly. Then we're going to do this exact same thing over here. Just a little. Yep. Oh yeah, and I forgot. This is supposed to go right here. It's not supposed to go that far. Okay. have the same deal here. This is rotated like this. There. Just as a sanity check, I just want to make sure the belts line up. They do. Perfect. And then on the left side, we're going to have this one going this way. Mark 1s, Mark 1s. Can't forget to make them all Mark 1s. Gotta keep doing that. Left is down. This one can be right across. Oh wait, what? Oh, wait, really? I did it offset slightly? Oh, I guess I did. Whoops. That's better. I need to redo this one. I have to do the same for this. Not too big of a deal, in all honesty. Yeah. Mark 1s all the way over and all the way around. Same deal here, Mark 1s. And then we have Mark 3 coming out to here. Same deal with this. 3. Okay, cool. So that's lined up on that side. Now we're going to do the same for the outgoing. Just make sure it's lined up here. That's fine. Okay, and then mark one down, over, and then this is lined up with the outside, so I'm not going to do anything here. But that's the logistics layer done. Let me do a quick sanity check, make sure these are all Mark 1s. Everything. Yep. And then Mark 1s for the belts. Yep. Okay. Sanity check complete on the lower side. I already did the sanity check up here. I just need power. And let's see. I think we're going to do power right here. We will go with a tier 2. Alright, and this is going to be the foundry, 3 times load balanced. And there we go. I might change the background colors for these blueprints so that like the 1 and the 2 and like 3/4s all have their own dedicated color. Make it easy for cataloging. But okay. Spinning around. You spin me right around. Making these blueprints is taking a lot longer than I thought. Not really. I did actually kind of think it would take this long. But, okay. We're gonna go, since we have the power pole on this side, we're just gonna... Let me just do a quick sanity check, make sure I saved it off. Yep. See if you can get the lift. Just delete the whole thing. Makes it very convenient. And then we're going to make it so that the foundation is split down the middle. What? Oh my gosh, wait, no. Okay, oh well, I guess. That's fine, I don't... Gross, but... We'll just go with that, it's fine. Should be able to avoid needing to do this. We will see. We should be able to get away with these just being like this. So this one will be centered here. This one will go up 2, over 2. And of course I'm somehow off. Because why wouldn't I be off by just a touch? Just a tad. Okay. Same deal here. Okay. And then we take this belt over. There you go. So that's that side linked up. Except we just need the tier 2 belts in this case, since it's just 2 sets of 60s. And then here, just need a single merger. And let's just make sure it's centered. I guess I could have left that one, but whatever. Oh, I don't need an output on that one. Yep. Okay, so that's the 2 boundary setup. I'm fine on this side, honestly. I just like to move this one in a bit. Because I just don't need that much space. Because, like, perspective-wise, this fits with that much clearance. This would be the same spot, technically. And then we can move this over so that it's actually centered. There will probably be a little bit of Z fighting, but interesting, it built itself like below? Oh, I forgot. I think I got one of the mods I got does this on purpose so that there's no Z fighting by default. It like really, really tinily shifts everything. Just a smidge. Which I'm fine with, honestly, so. Save this blueprint, and then we're gonna cut down... Which side makes more sense? This side. Right. Okay, so let's make sure that foundations are centered again. We don't need any of this logistics stuff. since these are just going to come straight out. Okay. Mark 1s. Cool. So then this will just be the 1x. Done. Just like that. I know I could change... Nah. Yeah, let's change this out for a Mark 1. Not a big deal. Yes. Okay, so that's the foundry's done. So the last one is the manufacturer, and I have a sneaking suspicion I'm only going to do a 2 and a 1 variant for that one. So let's get started on that. Let's just take a quick look. Oh, I need motors. Let's go grab motors. I should have few motors. Nothing like crazy. Literally might have like 2 or 3. Two and 5. Okay, that's more than I thought. Wow. And we have a lot of stators, which is nice. I think I'll put half of each into here. We'll keep the 64 for myself. I think 12 is good enough for me. I'll have to reorganize my belt for my hot bars shortly. 3 or 4 parts into another part. Yeah, so once I get 20, I'll go and start building stuff. I'm glad I just happen to have plastic on me to make the manufacturers. But once we're done with that, I think we might take a crack at... Now that we have the 480 belts, we'll take a crack at updating the belt highway. And I think with that, we'll be done with our blueprints. I know 3... If I run into needing 3 for the foundries or for the smelters, I'll do them, but I don't think I'm going to need it. Same thing for the constructor. I think the constructor's fine. So, okay. So, let's get started. Starting this off in the corner. Dragging it out. And of course I somehow didn't put it completely in the corner. Okay. I can't wait to find out that I put some of these at the wrong height. That will make me very sad. But I can't say I'd be surprised with my track record. Okay, so that is the right height. Now going on top, let's take a look at the manufacturer. I hope it fits. Okay, it does. Cool. Yeah, that's gonna definitely be a single one. If I had the Mark II, I'd be able to make a 2 set, but nope. But that's fine. Let's just set up the logistics for a single input. Wow, this is a huge footprint. Okay, so like half, so that's a quarter of the way there. That's a quarter of the way. Okay, that's perfectly centered. Now, in reality, I could move this more. I think I could get away with having it just be 3 across. Yeah, because there's a lot of wasted space with having it be 4 across. Let's aim for 3 across, have it center lined on here, and then have it a quarter of the way here and a quarter of the way here. That seems good. Alright. And we're gonna... that. Come over here. This won't link, won't it? Oh, that does reach. Cool. Perfect. Now going over all of the manufacturer recipes really quickly. That's an assembler. Modular engine. I don't see anything over that. Not a lot. See, but that's still just one. Computers. Same deal. Whoa. Okay. Cool. Heavy modular frames. If I don't get any alternative recipes, this is going to be hell. In that case, I'm a little annoyed if I have to run Mark IIIs heading in for all of them. I could just have a single belt have a Mark III and keep the rest to Mark Is, and I'll know. Because I'm pretty sure that's the only manufacturer recipe that's like that. Maybe in the future there'll be more, but I can always come back later, but I think we'll do that. I think we'll do Mark Is for all of these. And then we're going to have this one be a Mark III. Just to address that. And then this way, I think a Mark I is perfectly fine for these. I don't think any of them have an output that's greater than that. And then, I mean, that's the output. Woo! Oh yeah, this one's a Mark III coming in. And these are all Mark Is. There's not really any belt logistics on this one just yet, because I literally can't fit any yet. But at least getting the flooring finished. Quote-unquote load balanced, you know. Alright. So that's it for our blueprints. Let me edit them. So this is going to go under smelters. And then this is going to go under manufacturers. Now, I'm going to... Can I change the icon? Yes. So let's set... Dang it, that's not what I wanted. So let's select this color and save it as a BP, so blueprint, and we're going to call it base. And then let's make, say, I don't know, let's make a... Make like teal. We're going to save that as blueprint T2 for the tier 2 of whatever thing we're doing. And then we're going to move over to yellow. Yeah, we'll move over to yellow. Like a pastel yellow. Blueprint tier 3. And then we're going to move to like a deeper orange for blueprint tier 4. And then we'll have a tier 5 for whatever blueprint. That'll be red. So, okay, cool. So now we're going to go to the tier 2 here, and we're going to pick blueprint tier 2. Blueprint tier 3. And the same thing here. Blueprint tier 2. That yellow is a little too green, but it's still different enough that I'm not like worried. Okay. Tier 3, save it. Tier 1, tier 2. Cool. So we have it color coded. I can very quickly see which it is. Now for the belt highway, we're gonna load that one up, and then we're gonna make a second tier of it. This is our Mark III belt highway. Now that I have concrete, let's switch these foundations out for concrete. Where is concrete? Foundations, concrete. Do I want asphalt? Let's take a look at the sides for asphalt versus concrete. Pretty much the same, so I guess I'll just do concrete, because I think concrete's a little bit cheaper. No, I lied to myself. They're identical. Okay, cool. So we have a concrete pillar for it. And... do I have concrete walls or anything? We still just have the basic walls. This might be an opportunity to buy the concrete walls, in all honesty. I don't have much unlocked for the colors. Yeah, am I able to switch to... go for that. And maybe I'll do... we'll have this be a tier 2. We'll have this be a two high one as well. And that way it's not like as harsh of a transition. Still a little silly on the top, but I think that's fine. Now internally, belt-wise, all these are gonna be upgraded to tier 4s. Player is in the way. Okay, done. And the last portion of this, I think, is... actually, you know what? Let's take this opportunity for this one in particular. Let me go grab my tickets and... exit coupons. Got 2. Where is my thing? Over there. Cool thing is it's synchronized, so if the plastic and rubber have filled up, then they're definitely making me more coupons. 24. Alright, we can get some of the stuff I want to work on this building. Customizer. I'm not going to use the grip metal because it's expensive. Coated concrete. I think I need plastic for it. Yeah, but the coated concrete is definitely nice for factory floors, so I might use that in the future. Let's grab the concrete wall. I don't really care about the steel wall. Markings as well. We could go with this, but I'm more inclined to go for the walls. Honestly, I might grab a conveyor wall just because of how convenient it'll be. grab the gates. We'll grab... I like the steel framed windows more. And then we're going to grab the... I'm going to go for... Sorry about that. My internet dropped out for a second there. But I'm going to go for the concrete pillar set, the frame pillar set, and then I guess I'll grab the... Ooh. You know what? Actually, let me drop out the frame pillar set and go for the... Those are good. 24, I have 21 taken up. You know what? Let's just pick up... Oh, geez, I don't know. We'll go for that. We'll go for this. I think this is fine. I think this gives me a good amount of stuff. Thank you.
All
Let's go
fixed
and
embedded
refine this
materials
now.
are tested for toxins,
Oh yeah, I literally have
hallucinogens,
just set
and
to
other
3.
biologically adverse effects. Pioneers are advised not to immerse themselves in these materials, and not to lick, eat, breathe in, or otherwise consume them.
Gross. Yes, I have been advised not to consume random materials that I find in random places. I can only imagine why that's a health suggestion. Okay, so now I should be able to get a... Let's turn off the filter. Be able to place down these. Drop these. I was doing 3 anyway, so I figured, you know what, let's just do it as part of the wall set. I mean, makes it a little more flush. Then we can go for... We'll require silica, which I guess is fine. Silica is going to be a bit annoying, but that's not that big of a deal in actuality. Now for... Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So let's use... We're going to use the concrete, and we're going to layer it with frame floor to make it look nicer. So let's do that. Same deal over here. Gonna... Oops. Wrong size. And then same deal up here. Heck. Why does that seem so wildly off? Weird. Oops, not what I wanted to do. And then, actually, my bad. Instead of this, it'll be glass frame foundations on the roof. Because I can make it look nicer. Oh, it's offset because I'm doing it relative to the wall. That's the whole conundrum. There you go. So it's a little nicer. I might switch that one out for... kind of like this. The idea of it being a gate here. I don't know. How big is this thing? so this should like open when I'm near it. Or not. Ooh, yeah, look at that. That's kind of cool. And you go up. As you're going up. Okay, seriously. I'll just flip it around. And oops. Alright, that's a solid mix of it. Now I just need to make sure it goes over to the side. You can open. Need to get closer. There we go. That's the correct direction. Having just full frame windows is definitely not giving the effect I wanted. I think this will do better in reality. And honestly, maybe just having a normal concrete wall here will do fine. I think we're good there. Now... Okay. And then the last portion is framing the floor here. How are we looking at that? I think interior-wise, I want it to be fine, but I think having it sit on the bottom is nice. And then instead of this, we can go for a big concrete pillar, and we can mix that with a big pillar support on both directions. Well, actually no, we'll just do it one direction because... Okay, never mind. There. Okay. I think that's better. Yeah, I like that more. Now granted, let me just do a quick paint on it. I'm gonna switch out for just like a solid generic one. Now, the other thing is also going to be, I want to have this, and then this lets me rotate this way. And then, let me see. Because now I can have this right here, and then have small concrete pillars come out from it. I think I like that. Now the only conundrum is getting rid of the power split. Might get rid of the frame as well, especially with like the pillar there. I think that looks a lot nicer. Yep. Alright, cool. Now, I don't know exactly what I did to its I think I rotated it a little more. Oh, I didn't even think about it showing up in the floor. Oops. Let me see. I think that's the right position. I think the roll is just off. Actually, you know what? I can... Let me see real quick. The rotation is 90 degrees? That doesn't make sense. Okay. So let's do the roll correctly first. I'm pretty sure that it's the right amount of roll. So then it comes down to just inserting it properly. Okay, I think that's the right amount. The only conundrum being that I think it's the wrong position ever so slightly. I don't know what I'm doing. Sure, let's go with that. Let's see how that goes. Is that symmetrical? No, it isn't, because of course it's not. Let me just redo it, I guess, and then I'll just remember exactly what I did when I press buttons, so I can replicate it. Small pillar support. So we're going to line it up with the center. Then we are going to shift it. I think we're going to shift it twice. No, we're just going to shift roll it once. And then we're going to push it up once normally, and then once controlled. Then coming over here, same deal. We're going to shift it twice. No, we're going to shift it once. Then we're going to push it up normally once, and then once shrunk. And then grabbing this pillar. That actually, you know what? Them going down to there might actually be a nice little thing. You know what? I like that better. That's true. I do like that better. Now, the final portion is going to be making sure that I can't actually see... Well, that is a bit of a conundrum. If I just made the floors too thick, it wouldn't be as big of a deal, to be honest. You know. Yeah, I think I'm more inclined to do that. Also, what the heck? Oh, is that why it's offset? Because I just did... Yeah, you know what? That might be the case. Here, let's grab the 4-meter foundations, and then we're gonna delete that all the way down. Grab the 4 meters, vertical, bring it right to here. Place a 2-meter foundation on top. Okay. Now, one question is... Now these stand out completely. I did a 2-meter foundation, but I drop it down 1. See, but that's gross. That's like an in-between spot. You don't want that. Which, I guess that's fine. I guess I could just have it be 2... Oh, I could have just done 2 meters and had it be the same height. That's stupid of me. I totally could have done that. Oh well. And in that case, we're going to have this be 1 meter so that we can fit the big support pillar in there and have it be somewhat flush. That fits perfectly. Cool. And then the last thing is to paint it the same as the other two. And now I just have to reinstall everything I just deleted because I was being silly. Oh, but they do still show up on the floor. Except, I mean, with the belts, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Let's see what happens with the belts. Because if I can't even tell, then there's no point hassling over it. So let's see. What are we gonna do? And that's forward. You know what? Yeah, you can't even see it. I'm not gonna mind. Yep, I'm not gonna care. You can't see it, and that's what matters. So, alright. And then in terms of walls, we're gonna do the automated gate still, because I did like that. I think it opens this way. I guess it takes a second. Okay, so it goes the opposite direction of the arrows it's facing. Oh, and that's wrong. Interesting. The gate takes a minute to sort of like prep itself, I guess. Odd. Okay, either way, let's go with a hex window frame since it's not gonna have a whoops. Yeah, that's better. Then normal wall facing this way. Then we're going to have the glass frame foundations on the top. So that way you can actually see into it. There's a level, the steel beam provides a sense of directionality. I think all in all, this is a marked improvement to what will be our new belt highway. Now, belt highway Mark 4. And we're going to change the icon to be 4 belts. And we're going to change the color to be tier 4. Since it's Mark 4, technically, I could have other ones. And a quick look at their resource costs. A single one of these requires 128. So we somehow managed to make it cost less less concrete. Interesting. It costs less steel beams. Costs less plates. Costs silica though. Not a large amount to my knowledge. How much is this? Is that 4 or 40? I think that's 4. So it requires some silica. Oh, power cables. Yeah, I need power cables still. And then requires 24. So that's where it's going. Okay. Yeah, let me add power. Oh, that's cool. I can have them like string along on these. Oh, that does seem pretty cool now. I like this design. Might end up keeping it, actually. Yep. Let me save this. So now this uses up the same amount. Honestly, there's not much usage for 2. Just makes it symmetrical. Is there something else I can put on this side? Aesthetic or otherwise to be... I could just have a pipeline support for like future improvements. How much does a pipeline support cost? Oh, that's cheap. Yeah, you know what? I might do that. We'll have a power line on this side, and we have a pipeline on this side. And no, that doesn't make sense. A hyper tube would make more sense. We haven't unlocked those yet. So, I don't mind, I think. Special stuff, architecture stuff. I think it's fine. Yeah, you know what? It's fine. We'll just have the power on that side. Save some resources. Cool. So let us clear this blueprint, and we can use it now. So I think we're all squared away on the blueprints, and our stream is almost done, funny enough. So we can set up some of those, we can drop down a couple of them. See what happens with the belt highway system. So with this new one, let's hop on over. I'm curious what it's going to try to assign the belts as. Since they're technically... Oh, I guess it won't auto-connect them since they're 2 different things, technically. Which is fine. So. Let's delete that one. Okay, now with auto-connect, should auto-connect these belts. There it is. Oh, see, I always forget. You place it in such a way that the belts register as auto-connecting. You click once, and then you move it. And then you see... like you bring it out over here. And it tells you the conveyor belt's too long. And then you're able to move them inward. See? And then you rotate it. Conveyor belt's too long still. There we go. Like, boom. Looks like the conveyor belt's just fine. Yeah. I do like this a lot more visually than what we had going on before. But yeah, like we were already out of the encased industrial beams, so expensive is all. So I think what we're going to focus on is we're going to focus on getting the factory set up to do encased industrial beams. We're definitely going to want a bunch of those. I think the rule of thumb I'm going to go for is 120 of each resource to be kept for like personal usage outside of no, okay, 120 is far too much. Let me see, what's the dimensional depot's upload speed right now? I need more cable. Do we have cable in here? Nope. Actually, nope. That's fine. Make cable over here. Okay. So dimensional depot. Right now my upload speed is 30 per minute, and alien tech. So the upload speed increase would be, so this will be 60. This will be, so 60, 120, and then 240. So 240 is the max I would ever need. But I think 60 is plenty for personal usage of resources. Because if I up the stack size to be, say, what is it? So it's just a stack, 2 stacks, 3 stacks, 4 stacks. So 4 stack increases on top of the normal stack. And I think a normal stack of these is like 100 or 150. Let's take a look at these. Okay, so it's 100. So, and one of the belt highways takes up 24 just to place. I think 60, 120 per minute is probably safer. But doing the math, let's just check real quick how much that actually computes to. So if I want 120 per minute, that would be, oh, you know what? Let's just go for 240 and see what happens. So 240 per minute, just for using myself. See, but that doesn't make. It's a little silly to try and make excess for yourself because, like, once you fill up, it's kind of like wasted. That factory's not doing anything. It makes more sense to have, like, I guess no matter what, that's the case you run into, whether you make a dedicated section or not. Well, regardless, let's say 240. So if it's 240, per minute, then we're looking at, I think, 40. Oh geez, we're looking at just that alone, we're looking at 40 assemblers. See, that's one of those things you like that I was just talking about where like you go a little too hard on the math and then you just blow your power requirement, because 40 assemblers is too much power. Like 40 assemblers. Where are the assemblers? Bum, 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 bum. I could just type in assembler, but now I've gone too far. And I didn't find it because I probably missed it. Okay. So single assembler doesn't tell me. Okay, cool. Even though it should. So 15 megawatts. So I did 2 times 15, 600 megawatts alone out of my 2200 just to power that. And that's definitely not going to be worth it, unfortunately, without drastically upping my power. So, I mean, let's go for 60, because go for 60 per minute, just for this. I can drop down, so 60 per minute, we're looking at 10 of these. We need 360 and 180, which those are very viable. Those sound reasonable. I can fit those all onto my belts. Heck, I'm inclined just to go up to the max for concrete in that case. So what would that be? Ooh, 13. Guess we could go for 12 and get near the limit without being gross. But yeah, so we have 12 units, then we're looking at, actually, you know what? Let me pull up a Satisfactory. I think Satisfactory calculator is like the big one. The Satisfactory calculator. So let's say we're aiming for the encased industrial beams. We want to make 60 per minute. Let's just start off with 60. 72 per minute. Let's do 72. Actually, no. We'll do 60. Sorry, I was going back and forth, but I'm like, you know what? If the dimensional depot upgrade reaches 60, like if I upgrade it once, it'll be at 60 per minute. So let's just aim for that instead of needing 2 upgrades. So just by default, we need 10 assemblers, 24 constructors, 12 constructors, 16. Oh boy, yeah. And that's mostly because I don't have any alternative recipes. So what's our power outlook looking at? 550 megawatts just to make this. Granted, that's a lot. It is a lot. So we can adjust the recipes we have available to us as well as other things. I don't know if I have any alternative recipes for steel beams. No. What about steel ingots? Nope. And what do I have in terms of hard drives? Nothing related to this. Okay. I have to go on another adventure for more hard drives, but okay. So that math seems to be pretty... I don't think I can escape that right now. I mean, let's check the concrete. Let's see if I've gotten any recipes for concrete. No. Because there is a alternative recipe that is quite a big deal, but it's fine. So, just because of my power requirements and such, I think we're gonna end up targeting 30 because I can't afford to spend that much limestone, that much coal. So like the coal and the iron ore, I can definitely hit. The limestone, I can hit. So let's start. I'm not gonna make an encased industrial beam factory. But yeah, so we're gonna make this. We're going to make steel beams. I think same deal. Let's aim for 30. I think the idea is we're gonna aim to max out our, let's just aim for maxing out all of the plates at 30 per minute. And those will all feed into dimensional depots. And for reinforced iron plates, let's actually go for we have stitched iron plates, which is a big deal. Ooh. The adhered iron plate's that's pretty nice. I mean, I guess it's a similar ratio, but going for this. Did it switch over to that? No. Okay, then I guess I need to tell it not to use the normal iron plate recipe. So right now, using the normal iron plate recipe, we're at 570 with a total of 82, 570. Now let's turn off the normal reinforced iron plates. And we drop down a grand total of 60 megawatts and how many buildings? It's solid 15 buildings. That's a big deal. That saves quite a bit. So we can turn, you know what? I'll do that. We're going to make a factory and it's going to be our belt factory. And all of these resources are going to be made and this is just for belts. I think that makes sense. We'll do that. And then each floor, yeah. So I think we're going to make a belt factory next. So, and the resources didn't really grow too much. I mean, iron ore definitely did, but it'd be real nice if I had, yeah, that alloy, that's a big deal. But you need a foundry. I mean, but that's a lot. It's a big improvement. Even this, I mean, because I think you get more limestone in general. But this isn't, like, it doubles your iron, but it costs more limestone relatively. But this is outright a bonus, because you have 10 turning into 15. Leached is just, that's its own thing. Pure as well, but that's liquids. Coated iron plates. Now that doubles it with a single plastic, but bringing plastic over is going to be a nightmare. And this is a starter factory. Like we're targeting 30 a minute for each of these, so I'm not too concerned. Like if I needed more belts, I'd definitely go for more. And to be entirely honest, outside of the industrial beams, the others can just sit at 10 a minute. Because the encased industrial beams are going to be what my belt highways are built off of. But, I mean, the steel beams, the iron plates, and the reinforced iron plates are just going to be built off of, like, those are going to be inside the factory mainly. So having like 10 per minute makes sense, but yeah, I don't really, yeah, I think this makes sense. And I don't even remember what the next tier, oh yeah, the next tier of belts requires like aluminum stuff. That's its own nightmare. But, are there any, you know what, let's check if there's any wire recipes that are better. Ooh, that Caterium wire one, that might be a big deal. We do have a bunch of Caterium lying around. Um, that's a horrible recipe. Yeah, 1 to 2 versus 5 to 9. I mean, it's a little bit of a loss, but um now this though, this is a 1 to 8 ratio. This is a 1 to 30 and a 4 to, I mean, it's a 5, it's a 1 to 6 ratio versus a 1 to 8. But you're using copper to get more wire. And normally it's a 1 to 2 ratio, so the fused wire. Oh, but do I even have these recipes? No, I don't. What am I? I'm busy like, oh yeah, that's a good recipe right there. I'm like, I don't have it. Um, yeah, I don't even have it at all. Completely. Oops. But I'm curious. Let's see what happens if I did use Caterium wire. Like overview. What happens if we use it? Let's activate Caterium wire and turn off wire. So we're at 493 with 67. Oh, what? Why'd that pump up? That's weird. Why'd that do that? What recipe is it using? Why is it you? Huh? Why is that a recipe? Okay, no. Turn off Sam as a resource. What the heck is that? Sam's not a resource to this production line. All right, let's take a look at overall. And items and input, recipes. So if we use wire, we're only at 493 with 67. And if we use Caterium wire, we're looking at 60 with 466. So that drops it down a little. But we do introduce a requirement on Caterium ore. 75, so that's essentially tapping a node or a good portion of a node. Now what about fused wire? Fused wire, whoa, fused wire drops that a lot. The amount of buildings is the same. No, I lied to myself. Fused wire doesn't drop it that much at all. It's the exact same thing. Weird. Okay. And what about iron wire? See, that's weird. Iron wire pushes everything up. I guess it uses less resources potentially. I don't know. But okay, let's just aim for normal wire. Yeah, I really don't have any alternative recipes unlocked, but I do think aiming for a belt factory makes a lot of sense, especially with the resources that are around. Because if we need iron ore, I mean, we have lots of nodes that I'm not even tapping. There's some nodes over here, like normal, impure. These are 2 nodes. Those are copper nodes, actually, I think, right? Oh, they're not copper nodes. Okay, but there's a lot of copper here too. So I think I'll end up planning some factories out in my free time. And next stream, we're going to tackle a lot more of that sort of stuff. Putting together a new factory. So I do think a belt factory, we could probably drop the outputs. I mean, let's see, what happens if I drop the production of everything but the encased industrial beams to like 10? What are we looking at? Oh, that drops it quite a bit. And if we look at the visualization, like, how close are we to dropping things out? Interesting. So that's like 2, it's just barely. Like, if we drop the iron plate, reinforced iron plate requirement to like... How much does a stitched iron plate make? Makes 3. Let's go for the ratios that actually get made by these things. So that cleans that up quite a bit, and then that's cleaned up. So the iron plates at 10 per minute works out, actually. Steel beams at 10 per minute is a bit annoying, because I guess we're hitting at 100. So what if we did 1? Okay, what if we just jumped for 12? 16. 15. Cool. 7 constructors. So aiming for these amounts seems reasonable, and we're looking at, by dropping this down to 9, 10, and 15, we could honestly drop the iron plates down to like 6 based on these ratios, because it's like a half, it's like 2/3, and we could do this like 3 or 4. But that drops the building requirement quite a bit. Yeah, let's take a look. What if we did... Instead of 9... I mean, 10 uses 2 because of 40. Oh, you know what? I can't drop that more. Yeah, there's no point, because the 40 iron plates are what's being made already. So... But that's good. That's like a small section. That's 2 pure nodes. It's a little less than 2 pure nodes. That's more. These are nice ratios, aside for this one, but that's not surprising, all things considered. And I need to unlock overclocking or underclocking. See, why not just run 2 at 80% clock speed? And then, like, I don't know. So, I think this will be the first factory we end up making. These are some pretty decent ratios of stuff. And these aren't going into, like, this is specifically for these resources at the outputs. I want these things at the end. If I were making a different factory, obviously might be making a bunch more iron plates. But I think with those are some pretty solid base resources. So I think next we'll start... Cannot believe that there's not a button to mess with to-do list, really? Menus. I don't know. Well, either way. Oops. Let's just... Oh, is it because I don't have a to-do list that it's not possible to do that? Oh, whatever. Oh, wait, I could have been doing that this whole time? That's funny. Alright, well, we made some of our blueprints. Now, instead of just having it as a general redo the factory, we're going to make belt factory. And I call it belt factory because it's the resources needed to make belts, but it can account for those base resources. I'm thinking of batching the base resources up into relevant things. So that's our belt factory. Now, does that render as like a checkbox? Oh, it does. Okay. Now, what resources are needed for these? Cables. Lots of cables, 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 cables. I think aiming for a cable rotor, like a cable rotor stator machine or engine line. I think that's a good line. Because motors we definitely use. Stators, I guess, aren't actually used in. Yeah, so stators I'll make in service of the motors, but I don't think stators are used to craft any buildings, really. Because there's motors on the manufacturer, there's motors on the refinery, there's rotors for a bunch of them. Cables, rotors, motors, rotors, cables, motors. Uh, Sheets, rotors. Yeah, I don't see anything that uses stators directly. So I think I will aim for a factory that is uh can I like export this in an easy way? Oh, this is just a tab. Oh, I can have multiple tabs? Cool. I didn't realize that. All right. So we're gonna make motors. We're going to make rotors. We're going to make cable. And what are we looking at? We have to make wires, steel pipes, gross screws. I have a recipe that doesn't use screws. I'm almost certain. I think I swear I'm using it already. No? Oh, okay. Well, never mind. But rotors, cables, I mean, the wires are used for stators, so that's not like a useless thing. But looking at it, so it's not hard for us to end up generating 10 per minute of each of these for usage in like building stuff. I think a small trickle of stuff is fine. Cables, I might want more than 10 per minute to be entirely honest. Probably looking at 60. 60 seems like a solid amount. Although these turn gross because of that. So what if we aim for 50? Do we drop these down? This went to 8.6. Okay, so it's somewhere in here. 55. Alright, 55 did it. Although I guess we could go down to 8 constructors, because that'll go to 4. Be 45, isn't it? Oh, okay. 40. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we can do 40, and 40 turns these two nice. Rotors, this is rather gross, so we could probably bump the rotors we make to 20. Yeah, that's nicer. I like that a lot more. So 40 cables a minute, 10 motors, 20 rotors. I think that's fine. Might as well also make wire here, since that's a side effect of this factory. Let's aim for... Sure, let's just aim for 60. Yep, 60 wire per minute. Nice and easy. Not an issue. Doesn't really deviate anything too harsh. I could target like tapping a pure, like a full node for these. That might be smarter to do, and then filtering them out. Let's see, what else gets generated here? The steel ingots for the steel pipes. I think I could have steel pipes be an output of this one. But I think I'd much rather have the steel coming from a different factory. Wonder what it chose to name it. A motor factory. Yeah, that makes sense. Motors, and then we'll pull off these. I think those are healthy amounts of things, especially if they're being made autonomously. Build up a buffer of them. I think that's solid. I don't have any issue with that. Again, it's a bit of a waste. I'll have to look into it, but either way, this is kind of the planning I'm gonna do. Looking at making some like these will be factories for for like building stuff manually. I think the factories that I'm gonna target later are going to be like the space parts as their own separate factories. But these are so I can build all of the infrastructure I need. I haven't even looked up what a... Let me check real quick. What do the train rail, what does a railway take? Steel pipe and a steel beam. Okay. That's what I figured. And then, so that's going to be expensive. And then what about a train station? We'll be making this, we'll be making this. We already have a plastic and rubber factory. I'll need to make a concrete factory, which, I mean, concrete seems like it would be a natural offshoot of this one. Because I'm at a 540, and I'm pretty sure really quickly, look at limestone. We have an impure, normal, normal. And is that it? Uh-oh. Are we gonna be limestone limited? We shouldn't be, because I swear there were more. Yeah, there's one there. See, okay. Another tool that you can use is the Satisfactory interactive map. This one, you can end up, turn off roads, we'll go to resource nodes. So we want limestone, iron ore, copper ore, coal, and I think that's all we're going to care about right now. But from where we are on the map, we're over here. So there's a bunch of iron ore right over here. In terms of limestone, let me turn these off real quick. So there's some better limestone out over here, but with a Mark II at 100%, we're looking at 120 per minute. So we can tap these three, and that'll get us 360. And then these two, and that'll get us 480. This one will get us 600. So we can tap along here and get 600. Yeah, I wonder where we should be pulling limestone from, but I'm over here at the time being, so. I think potentially putting the factory right over here might be a better idea, to pull from these and from these, and then we can have a second factory down here to pull just from these, because these three green nodes, I mean, it's 240 each. That's going to satisfy a lot. Sorry, I'm going on and on. Either way, thank you guys for watching. It was fun. got a lot done in terms of the blueprints. Not much in terms of the factory, but we're getting there. So, thanks for watching. Have a good one.